Greetings, fellow Meccas. Today, we'll be looking at an abatement cost problem. The problem: two firms release too much CO2 and exceed the emission standards of the state. To meet the standard, 16 units of CO2 must be abated in total. Abatement costs are given as MaCO1 is equal to 32 plus A1. MaCO2 is equal to 20 plus 5A2. If the state, Part A, if the state implements a uniform standard, what are the marginal abatement costs of both firms under the standard? Part B, determine the cost-effective allocation of abatement across both firms. Now pause this video, take a few minutes, and solve this problem. Welcome back. Hopefully you're able to solve this problem. Now let's work on it together. So, Part A. If the state implements a uniform standard, what are the marginal abatement costs of both firms under the standard? Well, we are looking for the case where the state is implementing a uniform standard. So what does this mean? Well, this means that A1 is going to be equal to A2. So the abatement of firm 1 has to be equal to firm 2. And we are given the constraint of this problem to be 60 units, so we cannot exceed 60 units. And we have two firms, so we just divide 60 in half to be 30. So if firm 1 abates 30 and firm 2 abates 30, the total will be 60. It meets the state requirement, and then we have achieved a uniform standard. So to see if the marginal abatement costs of 1 and 2 achieves this, we can just plug in 30 for A1 and A2. So we get marginal abatement cost of 1 is equal to 32 plus 30. And then the marginal abatement cost of 2 is 20 plus 5 times 30. For firm 1, the marginal abatement cost is going to be equal to 62. And for firm 2, the marginal abatement cost is going to be equal to 170. And we can see that these values are not 30. They are not equal as well. So, since marginal abatement cost of 1 does not equal marginal abatement cost of 2, uniform standards are not met. Will not meet cost effectiveness. Criterion. So that's part A. MaCO1 does not equal MaCO2. Uniform standards will not meet cost effectiveness criterion. So, moving along, part B, where now we need to determine the cost effective allocation of abatement across both firms. So to do this, we need to set marginal abatement cost of 1 equal to marginal abatement cost of 2. So we get 32 plus A1 is equal to 20 plus 5A2 And now we need to solve for either A1 or A2. So we need to do some substitution. And remember that A1 plus A2 is equal to 60. So we get A1 is equal to 60 minus A2. And then now we can substitute this equation, A1, into our A1 here. And then we can solve for A2. And why is A1 plus A2 equals 60? Well, that was our standard requirement of the state from above. To meet the standard, 60 units of CO2 must be abated in total. So A1 plus A2, it doesn't matter how we get there, we must abate 60 in total. Because it's no longer uniform. So it doesn't have to be 30 and 30. So here we go. We get 32 plus 60 minus A2 is going to be equal to 20 plus 5A2. We get 92 minus A2 is equal to 20 plus 5A2. We can subtract 20 on both sides and add A2 on both sides. So we get 72 is equal to 6A2. Now we can solve for A2 by dividing by 6. We get A2 is equal to 12. Now we can solve for A1. Since we have our A1 equation as A1 is equal to 60 minus A2, which is 12. So we get A1 of being 48. So at a cost-effective allocation of abatement across both firms, firm 1 will abate 48 and firm 2 will abate 12. And that is the solution to the problem. I hope this video helped. If it did,